A resigned U.S. colonel has cautioned that Israel is endeavoring to suck the United States into a war with Iran that could crush what's left of the Middle East and touch off World War. Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson, previous head of staff to Secretary of State Colin Powell, influenced his comments as the Israel to campaign assemble IPAC is pushing hard for activity against Iran in Syria. Darius Schatz MSB. By means of Mint Press News reports, Wilkerson, a resigned armed force colonel who now instructs at Washington region colleges, didn't keep down in his study of where business as usual is driving the United States by means of its customer state, Israel. At the yearly Israel campaign gathering at the National Press Club, supported by the Washington Report on Middle East Affairs and Institute for Research, Middle East Policy, Wilkerson clarified that Israel is made a beeline for a gigantic showdown with the different forces displayed against it, an encounter that will suck America in and maybe end the trial that is Israel and do hopeless harm to the domain that America has progressed toward becoming. One of the central foes asking for a war with Iran that Wilkerson recognized was none other than Avigdor Lieberman, Israel's Russian-conceived defense minister. Wilkerson expressed. Lieberman will talk in April in New York City at the yearly meeting of the Jerusalem Post. The title is, The New War with Iran. It is evident that he's, at, the front line of advancing this war. What's more, no place does my worry about such a war concentrate more intensely right now than Syria. As, the, leader of France Emmanuel Macron depicted it as of late, the present talk of the U.S., Saudi Arabia, and Israel is pushing the area toward struggle with Iran. Regardless of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's relentless denigrations of Iran, including guaranteeing the most serious threat confronting the Jewish state is the Islamic Republic, a nation he blames for fanning the blazes of against-Semitism, Wilkerson blew these allegations out of the Recreation Center utilizing straightforward rationale. He stated, "This discrimination against Jews obviously, as we've heard today, is quite often a weapon of decision for Israeli government officials under pressure flung, for this situation, at the nation whose Jewish populace, incidentally, the biggest in the Middle East outside of Turkey and Israel, lives in Iran in sensible peace." He proceeded. Also, bear in mind that these words were articulated by the man who, as we've heard today, is doing all that he can to oust dim-cleaned African evacuees to a great extent from Eritrea and Sudan from Israel, where most have come as real exiles. Wilkerson featured the lip service of Netanyahu and his companions in more routes than one. For instance, Wilkerson alluded to Netanyahu's pompous discourse at the Munich Security Conference in which he straightforwardly tested Iranian Minister of Foreign Affairs Mohammad Javad Zarif while holding leftovers of an automaton purportedly brought down finished Israeli airspace. Israel guaranteed the automaton was Iranian-fabricated. Wilkerson noticed that accordingly, Iran wound up being safeguarded by Lebanon's defense minister, who said he had an Israeli automaton over his head for all intents and purposes 24 hours every day. Further, the predominant press and the administrations that advantage from their stories give careful consideration to the way that Israel routinely disregards Lebanese airspace with its advanced airship. Or maybe, Iran is continually painted as the significant danger and violator of worldwide law. Recently obviously, Wilkerson proceeded with, Tel Aviv is progressively utilizing Iran's essence in Syria, its help for Bashar al-Assad, and its claimed drive, and I adore this one, and my military friends cherish it, too, for a Shia hallway from Tehran to Aden, as the aged mammoth that must not be at any cost, including obviously America's fortune and lives, as his reasonable justification and existential provoke for activity. Yet, why would that be a risk that the U.S. will be dragged into this war? And for what reason does Israel require America's assistance? As Wilkerson clarifies, I trust the appropriate response is genuinely clear once you push aside the spider webs that encompass it. The authenticity of incredible power is the thing that I call it. What's more, that is exactly what Netanyahu and Lieberman want. It's additionally what Riyadh wants, particularly with the new Kid ruler Mohammed Receptacle Salman, now a recent partner of Israel. To put it plainly, the IDF could safeguard Israel, however it couldn't assault Iran. Not effectively, in any case. What's more, were it to do as such, it would be accursed globally and subsequently disengaged considerably more than it as of now is today, maybe devastatingly so. A year ago, a best Israeli general entrusted with composing his nation's protection arrangement conceded that Israel can't go up against Iran's military alone if the day should come that the provincial forces go head-to-head in an immediate military encounter, saying they would need to depend on the U.S. for help.